What's going on, y'all? This is Zach.
This is Jacob.
We introduced ourselves, and this is
remembered.
This is the FMG Instructor Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. We're super excited to jump in today. We just had a really cool thing happen just this weekend. We did our first big showcase.
Yeah.
Is what I'm going to call it.
Yeah.
FMG's been around for 3 years. It's not my first rodeo at a lesson studio, nor is it Jacob's here. He's been teaching a long time. But the difference is here we do things a lot different. We have 3 core values that we go by. That's loved, valued, and cared for. And that is how we approach every lesson. It's how we approach our families. It's how we approach our community. Our goal is to make sure that every student and family is loved, valued, and cared for in every way possible, from the instructor-student relationship to the relationship between the student and the instrument, the instructor and the parent, and that holy trinity of communication is just kind of how we live and die by.
Yeah.
We have a phrase we use around here: slow plus ugly equals awesome. Because anytime you learn something new, it's going to be slow, it's going to be ugly, but it's going to be awesome when you do it. And that makes us very unique because no one else does that around here.
Yep.
Or really, it seems like anywhere, according to the forums that I'm a part of.
Yeah. It seems tough. It seems like a lot of the lesson studios that exist, at least in our area, exist solely to show you how to play Back in Black by AC/DC.
Oh, man.
And
Because Back in Black is the very best song ever.
Yeah.
Don't you know that?
yeah.
It's the best.
And it always seems when we get students from other lesson studios and we ask them, well, how was your day today? Why do you want to know, weirdo?
Yeah, I'm only 12.
I'm only 12. Okay, Bryson.
One of our students from New Hampshire flew up to Indiana this weekend, and gosh, it's so funny. He's like 15 and just wild.
He's
man.
hilarious.
He's super funny. That's him though. What's up, Bryson? Hope you're doing good.
Yeah, and so it's very funny to see that their first experience with us.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, like if they want to learn a song, we'll teach them a song.
Mm-hmm. It's just different, right?
so different.
Like I remember like when I learned guitar, when I was taking guitar lessons for the first time, and I had an instructor. His name is Andy Cole. Had a huge impact on my life, but it wasn't like the guitar lesson that wasn't impactful. It was what he communicated inside of it. I was a person that valued, is that I was a person worthwhile to spend his time on, and that translated all these years later into like I've taught his daughter, which is wild to think of, but like she just shot us a message the other day, and I honestly I don't even think I responded to it because I was kind of blown away by it. I should probably respond to that
Probably
message.
should.
Hey, Jackie. Thank you.
Yeah. That kind of brings us to what I want to talk about today is we had some powerful moments during our showcase on Saturday.
Yeah, we did.
And a lot of places will do a recital. They'll do we're going to get together. I'm going to have these group of students play this piano piece and these group play this guitar piece and whatever. And it's like, okay, that's cool.
In a necessary function, right?
Absolutely.
Like, you got to give people the opportunity.
Yeah, but it was very different for us this time. And we've always strived to do above and beyond for our students, and this certainly was.
Listen, I think you found out in the last the first podcast we did, is like we're kind of bougie people. Like,
we're a little bougie.
We're a little bougie. Like we're a lesson studio, but like I don't know.
I mean, we're talking small theater, full giant line array, light show, fog, lasers.
Yeah, we just kind of go all
works.
out, and it's not in like a braggadocious way. It's just that like there's the recital piece, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like where you do it in a room, and then there's like the method where you book gigs and like you have like quote unquote like preview shows or something like that, and you pack out like a restaurant. And then there's like what we did, which is like, hey, we're gonna throw a show. Let's go.
And there's also like a really real thought here is that some of these kids will never get that experience again.
No, nor would maybe some of them want them again.
Sure,
but they were glad.
I mean, thinking about your Monday night band, they will get that experience again.
100%. They practiced last
Especially
night.
their band's leader. He's going to grow up to be a full-time professional musician, and if he doesn't,
sure.
I'm going to knock some sense into him. 'Cause
Yeah.
Not only is he incredible, he's like, what, 13?
He's actually 12.
He's 12. He's an incredible guitar
12.
player. He's a strong leader.
Yeah.
And he's
like-
so stinking humble.
He has the my Monday night band. They're the littles, right? They're little kids. Like, so one of my daughters, my youngest daughter, is at it. She's 9.5, and she's got some other students in there with her. They're singing. They're like 7 and 8. They got drummers or guitar players, but the leader of this thing, his name is McCormick. He calls it the distraction pile. Did you know this?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
McCormick, he everybody comes in, they circle, they talk about what they're going to do for the night, and McCormick goes, "All right, distraction pile now, outside." He just points to he's just like you. He points to the door, and everybody takes chairs out because chairs are a problem. Like, they can't just be, and all the
That's
cell phones leave,
hilarious.
all the coats leave, all the iPads leave. He makes them there's a giant mess in the back. You gotta
Oh my
watch.
gosh,
It's
I
so
love it.
funny. Yeah.
I love that.
It's hilarious. But he calls it distraction pile. Yeah, and they're.
I'm going to start doing that on my rehearsals.
They rehearsed last night, and they got the experience, right. You said that they'll probably do it again. They will, because they now know what it looks like.
Yep.
They know what level to expect. They know that, hey, this isn't, we're going to, like Denver's Garage, which is a great restaurant around here in Fortville that supports us. We did a couple things there, ran open mic nights and stuff, but and we did a show there, and we packed it out. But it's not that. It's a tall stage, full situation. It's very
it's a
different.
theater. It's a big theater. It's
Yeah.
big lights, big. I mean, it's crazy green room with.
Lights, mirrors, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Over 400 people showed up across the two shows. Yeah.
It was awesome. But I think that's the point. Like, I remember my recitals from when I was a little kid. Park Place Church of God in Anderson.
Oh my
And-
gosh, Park Place. You had recitals at Park Place?
Yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing. That's
and
crazy.
it was fine.
Yeah.
But like, at that age, that's the age of these students that we just threw a big show for.
Yeah.
And I do love to reference back to the movie School of Rock.
The best.
Dewey
movie
Finn
ever.
did not do a good job of teaching them music, but he did do a great job of teaching them the attitude of music.
Mm-hmm.
And he got them into a show where, truthfully, they didn't belong, and they killed it.
Killed it.
And that's kind of
It's kind of what happened.
what we do,
Yeah.
with the exception of we are actually teaching them to play their instrument.
Which is the difference. And I think, like, as you guys listening to this podcast, watching the YouTube channel, I think what you're going to find from us is, like, we're professional musicians doing the thing. We do session work, we gig, we write songs,
Yep.
we invest in other artists. We have plenty of artists that are represented here that do cool stuff on their own right, that are just getting better. And the way we go about things is we're actual musicians.
Right.
We're not just
Yep.
grabbing a chord chart and a tab and just going, all right, well, this is where we put our fingers. No. Like, you need to understand, like, this is what theory looks like. This is what natural numbering system looks like. This is what counting looks like. This is what being responsible to a click track looks like. This is how you serve a song well.
And this is also a conversation we have to have with parents pretty frequently is,
In fact, we have a whole automated email system that goes out about student progression and what we look for.
yeah,
Yeah.
I am not going to sit here and teach your student to play a 4-chord song. They can figure that out. They can do that on their own time.
100%.
What I am going to teach them is, why are those 4 chords together?
Yep. 100%.
And I was thinking, one of my students last night, she is so fun. We're learning Here, There, and Everywhere by the Beatles.
Oh, that's a cool song. I don't think I've ever heard that taught.
It
Like in a studio
follows
before. That's cool.
no progression.
Really. Just kind of goes. I've never played it.
I mean,
Whatever.
yeah, it does. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, right? Those are the chords.
Okay.
But then it goes to the 7 to 3, 7 to 3, 6 to 4, 6 to 2, 6 to 2.
Okay.
And then it
Kinda cool
changes
sound.
keys to the most bizarre, like it's just a bizarre
It
progression.
has one of those jumps.
And it is truly a weird song.
Like you just have to memorize it. There's no way to do it. There's no hack.
Yeah,
You just
there's no hack for it. But when we were going through it, I was like, look, you know how to play G, A minor, B minor, C, G, A. I don't have to teach you that. But let's talk about where those chords lie in the progression or lie in the scale degree. Why? And then it's got that chromatic do 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 do, which transitions it from the key of B flat back into G, which is a weird transition.
so weird.
But it and it's kind of a hard break from G to B flat and then that chromatic walk down back to G. So it's kind of weird, but it's such a cool thing that she didn't even question me on when she was like, okay, actually, I think I pressured her into learning Here, There, and Everywhere.
Of course you did. Big bully.
I know. But she didn't even question me on when we started learning it. I didn't go, okay, here's a G, here's the A minor, here. Like, who cares about that crap? Like, here's the scale degrees, here's why they use them, and here's how we're going to attack it.
Yeah. Well, and then because there's a trifold to this, like so that approach, right? And then you don't stop there because we've talked about this type of thing, especially like acoustic guitar rhythm players, is like you can spend an entire year just on one chord progression
100%.
to like nail it down, right?
Yep.
To get all of the value that's there, to be able to attack each string with an intentionality piece between the rake and the ups and the flicks and the mids, and being able to really let something bloom properly. You can't really do those things without understanding the why behind them in the first place.
Right.
Just like we can teach the chord, but like you can do that on the internet.
Yeah.
Like there's great resources.
Yep.
I mean, good God, Justin Guitar has been around for friggin' ever. He's got every chord book you can imagine out there and an app that goes along with you. But like that's not why people are here.
Yep.
Yeah. Different.
Yeah. And that's kind of, I think that was a frustrating thing with, I think about like my adult band. When they came from another studio that just taught them the songs. And the drummer in that band, we actually, last week, the rest of the band couldn't make it, but he came just for a drum lesson. And it was funny. We kind of backed up. We started talking about ghost notes and backbeats. And nobody had ever talked to him about that before. And it was like an eye-opening moment. And it was like, what the crap did you do at your last studio for 4 years?
Dude, for real though. Like that right there. And like I just want to riff. Can we riff on that for a second? Like, so I can't tell you like how many like parents I've talked to after like their trial with a student and they've been somewhere else for a long time.
Yeah.
And it's heart-wrenching because like I know how much other places are. And like you're talking years and they've got nothing. Like nothing of actual
sure,
like
they can play
yes.
such and such song and they will play it 90% of how it's written.
That's right. And that's all they can do.
Yeah.
But if you throw them into the mix of just a group of guys, like, and so guys and gals say, hey, we're going to play this progression. We're just going to go, follow along. Like they don't have the ability to do that. I think that's what's so impressive. Like when I think back to like this big show we did and I look at who is on stage, I know without a shadow of a reasonable doubt, almost anybody up there would have been able to take like a nice, like, 60 BPM, straight groove and be able to play a progression together. You take like all 65 of our students who actually performed.
Yep.
You could say the key signature and you could say the progression and they could do it.
And it's funny.
And play with a click.
Yeah, and play with a click. It's funny because last night Drew and I were working. He was my last student last night. We were working on just rhythm, and I told him I don't care what notes he plays. He can pick whatever. I mean, he's a proficient guitar player. And I'm gonna just play drums, and you're gonna play rhythm guitar, and we're gonna figure it out. And then I told him why. When I was 18, I was working at Guitar Center. I had this boss. His name was Ivan. You remember Ivan?
I think so.
Ivan is still to this day one of the best drummers I know. Like, super great drummer. Well, he was nice enough to take me into his band. He had this band of a couple guys, and they're all in their 30s, and I'm 18, and so it was a little weird, and I don't know,
different stages.
I didn't know that they really liked me, but it is what it is. I mean, I had professional gear. I was playing professionally at that point, and I don't know if the whole band liked me, but Ivan liked me, and we were friends and stuff, so that was cool. One day, Ivan texted me and he was like, "Hey, got a new amp at the studio. I want you to come by and let's jam on it." And I was like, "Cool." He also got this old Gretsch kit with a 26-inch kit. Behind the camera right here is the PDP Concept Series with the 26-inch kick.
Big boy.
And I'm telling you, this is one of my favorite drum sets. We used it at the show on Saturday.
I'm such a toss up on the drum kits. Like the drum, we just need to.
We have a Yamaha. We have a Yamaha Stage Custom and a Gretsch Catalina and a couple other kits too. But the Yamaha Stage Custom sounds incredible, and it's a much more tighter kit. Think of like fusion music and like
Steve Jordan, man. It's got a Steve Jordan sound.
It has. So okay,
it does.
If you combined the Stage Custom and this PDP kit, you would get Steve Jordan, because he has that big kick in front of him, and then he swivels and he's got his little kick. That's kind of the two kits. Like Anyway, doesn't matter. So
rabbit hole.
Ivan had just got this big giant 26-inch kick, and it was a huge kit, and he was actually using a floor tom as a second rack tom. He had like a 16 and an 18, and they sounded huge, massive, and amazing sounding kit. And so I was so excited. So I go over there, and we've got this new amp, and I've got my telly, and I'm like, yeah, we're gonna jam. And he just starts playing, and I'm like, what do I do? And it was in that moment that I realized, like, I was a very arrogant 18-year-old, like, had stupid confidence that was unearned. And right then it all came crashing down. I lost everything. I didn't know what to do. And so I started playing some John Mayer riff or something, and like I probably started trying to play Belief or something. And that's not really a jam song. And so like it was in that moment that like I realized, one, I'm not as good as I think I am. Two, these guys have been doing it their entire life and are twice my age. I probably should shut up and listen to what they have to say. And three, for all the theory I knew, I did not know how to put it into practice. And so that was the moment that I left. I was taking lessons from a guy named Mike, and let's be real, I still take lessons from him whenever I can.
From a guy named Mike. Hi, Mike.
Yep. And I just told him, I said, I shut down. I didn't know what to do. And it was the most awkward couple hours of my life. And when I was talking with Drew,
student from last night.
Yeah, my student from last night, I told him that story, and I said, I don't want that for you. I don't want you to get into a band. And then when you start, because a lot of times with especially bands in our area, everything's a cover band, right? Like there's what, 10 original bands around here?
And that's pushing
if that.
That's pushing it, yeah.
And the
like when I say pushing it, that's like I'm talking about like real
that are
like
in the
legit,
area doing
trying.
it, that people come out, like
they come out.
People
and
will
they,
come out
they
and
go,
see Corey Cox always.
Yeah,
people will come out and see Indianis always.
Aaron Pelsu band.
Yep,
he's Alex Williams.
Yep,
yeah,
Alex Williams, especially Alex Williams.
Yeah.
People will come out and see you always, but you know who else people will come out and see? That '90s band.
That 90s, they're actually fun.
Groove Smash.
The
Do Band.
That's
like, and those are all cover bands, and they're phenomenal.
So good.
And like
tight.
Super tight. Like Ryan Grinstead on drums. Woo!
Yeah,
Phil Powers on drums. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Like these bands are Mark Pay on guitar. I mean, come on. Like
And the reason why he's geeking out, and maybe you're a music teacher, if you're listening to this, you're teaching lessons. Like, the reason why he's geeking out is because we know what they know, what you might know but don't actually believe, and that's that the only thing that actually matters is your ears and rhythm and being able to do the thing.
And that was the hardest thing. It's like he sat there and froze while I played drums. Drew did.
Yeah.
And then I picked up an acoustic guitar and went and sat back at the drum kit and was giving myself rhythm with a hi-hat and kick and was strumming along, and I was like, this is the idea we're forming. Yeah. Let's just do eighth notes over this one note and keep it going. Yeah. And we built it into this groove, which is a groove that I hear you play a lot with all of your students. Mm-hmm. You often will have a drummer stick to a click, and then you sit and play a groove over
just
it.
Whatever.
And it reminds
all the time. It's like literally, it's the thing in my head that just happens every day.
Yeah, which is some variation of "Who Do You Think I Was" by John Mayer.
It really is. It's "Who Do You Think It Was" by John Mayer, or a total ripoff of "Superstitious," or those two things blended together.
It's a blend, yeah, 100%,
It's hilarious,
100%. Which I love listening to. It's hilarious. But in the same sense, like, we had students at the showcase on Saturday that. They just wanted to go up there and play drums with us playing guitar. Or they just wanted to play guitar with us playing drums.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts about, like, just the show in general, and, like, if you can pop on our socials and see clips of some of it, and, like, you can see how ridiculous it kind of was. Maybe you've seen those things before, and that's fine. But, like, the difference that we always communicate is heartbeat. It's heartbeat first, mission, vision first, and then it's the thing. But to that point of, like, just being able to sit down and go. I have one of my students that played on Saturday, Roman and Chase, and two little boys are like 5 and 6, and they both can play with click. They both have an insane feel on drums, and
they're good.
They're good.
Like,
dynamics, they can go up and down in dynamics, and that's And we have. It's so funny. We have such different teaching styles, but it's the same heartbeat. It's like, I want you to actually be able to play, and we forget that. We get so focused on song and that's it. Mm-hmm. But like theory. Yeah. But it's got to be a mix of the both. It's got to be, can you count? It's got to be, can you serve this moment? Here's the progression. Here's what the chords are, why they are, and here's the moment. Can you do that? And then can we transition that over to a different set of chords inside that key signature? Yep. And then can we transition it to another key signature altogether and do over and over and over again? Which is very different. Just at large, and we found a lot of success in. I mean, but I think the personal success of watching our students on Saturday wasn't in their wins; it was in their ability to fail forward, or to fail on not on purpose, but knowing that it was the best option. Like to still do it was to still win, even though it was a fail.
Yeah, we had a couple students who. Nerves just won.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I mean, again, big stage, light show, fog.
Slow plus ugly equals awesome.
But when you've never experienced that before and you go up there for the first time and you can't even see the crowd because you've got 25 lights in your face.
Dude, that was legit. That was so legit. I was looking out there. I was like, where is everybody at?
Grayson said that to me yesterday, one of my students that performed. He said, you know what the best part was? Is I sat down in the drum kit and I couldn't even see past the front of the stage. And that was okay.
That was okay.
But we had students who got up there and messed up.
Yeah.
And which we prepped everybody. Mm-hmm. Some of you are going to make mistakes. Mm-hmm. And that is okay.
It's totally okay.
Because me as a professional, I've played at the Opry. I've played I've played it. Yeah, you had a sold out night. Mm-hmm. And I mean or 2 nights?
No, just one.
Oh.
Just one. Yeah,
cool. And we've messed up. And we've messed up in big places.
I messed up on Saturday. I lost my voice from emceeing, and then I hit 2 dead notes in an acoustic song.
Oh, you did. It was very pretty.
Oh my gosh.
But
it's painful. I hate when those moments happen too. And then you just can't get it out, and so then it just it becomes a thing that happens.
Yep.
Because the note comes back around and you're freaking out over the note and you try and go for it
Yep.
and you miss it anyways.
But you know what?
Yeah.
If you mess up though, and then you quit, man, what a missed opportunity.
100%.
And we've got students who messed up
And didn't
and they
lay
did not
down.
quit,
Didn't
man.
lay down.
They might have taken a second
Yeah.
and taken a deep breath. And I do think a huge part of why they didn't quit was you and I were right there for them.
100%. And I want to riff on that just a second. And I mean, I don't know, we could probably kind of wrap it up in a bow. One of the things that that people take for granted, and I say all people as a general term, is that music is hard. And we want to think like, oh, our kids are in lessons and like they should just be this great thing. But everybody's interaction with music is so different. And so like when you pontificate upon this idea of like you're going to come here and you're going to be the best thing ever, and like you're going to be in a band, it's going to be light, it's going to be rock and roll, it's going to be super cool, and like my kid's a rock star, or like my kid's next Tchaikovsky or Beethoven, and like they're so prim and proper. Like when you put all the emphasis there, the ability to fail is so high. It's so high. And then they fail as a person. And I think the one thing that I took away from Saturday, from our two students, like, because we really only had a couple that like really had some struggles out of all of them. But I was side stage and I was watching you, and me and Jacob have been friends a long time. And I've seen Jacob in a lot of the stages that he's talking about, and he's seen me in a lot of the stages that I am embarrassed of, to be quite honest. But I watched him become who I thought he always was, on stage in a single moment when a student was failing. I don't think you've heard this. So, but like when I watched you with this student who was like, I mean, just bombing it, but you said, it's okay. Just keep going. That's all you have to do. Just keep going. You're fine. Yeah. Get to the next chord. Just take the next step. All I could think about was Ed Milet and his entire premise of just one more day. Yep. If I can just do something for one more day, that's what you were calling out of him. And it, to me, it showed me that you made a shift as a teacher, and I own this thing, like my wife and I do, and we have just an amazing team. Jacob's a part of that, but like you took a step in a different direction on that stage in that moment. You took the hat of I'm a professional guitar player and I'm a producer and a mix engineer off, and you said, no, I'm a human, and I am here to make sure that you get through this, so you know that you can always get through this. Yeah. In that moment, it blew me away. I was on the side stage, just like I had tears running down my eyes. And I had a student who's like, "What's wrong with you?" And I was like, "Because I'm damn proud of my friend." Like in that moment, like forget that we own anything. The whole thing could crash and burn in that moment. Like I don't think you'll ever be the same after that. And I could be wrong, but that's what I experienced from side stage, and that matters to me. That matters more than anything. It matters than us retaining our student count. Sure. It matters more than ticket sales. And it spoke so high of who we're striving to become, because we're not perfect, but failure is the best option. And giving a student the ability to move in that direction, I think there's so much pressure that needs to be alleviated from an instructor standpoint. And that's what this podcast is for, I guess, is just to go, hey, we're in it, we're doing it. It's in a different way than you're used to. Yep. It doesn't look the same. Yep. The priorities are different. The method is different. And it's not out of reach. It's not out of reach from the home studio. It's not out of reach from the big box studio that has parameters. Like, it's just about why you're showing up. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Yeah.
It was tough in that moment. I am a perfectionist, and I want things to be perfect, and I want people to learn songs perfectly. Yeah. But I felt what you're saying. I felt that shift of that's not who he needed me to be in that moment. Mm-hmm. And had I gone that route, he would quit.
He'd never play guitar
again.
He'd
never play guitar again.
Yeah. And in the same breath, one of my students had a struggle bus. Granted, I've only had her for a handful of weeks. She was with another instructor who's on hiatus at the moment. But I realized I hadn't done a good job of following through on the things that I normally do for all of our instructors with that other instructor. So I dropped the ball for him, and then his student didn't really suffer. Brilliant, just needed expertise to see, like, oh, like there are missing holes here, and you don't know that they're there unless you ask the right questions. Sure. So if you don't have the right questions to ask, you don't know. So she had a panic attack on stage, and it was so deep. And I've seen those eyes before because I've experienced those eyes myself. You know what I mean? Like it was full flight or flight. Like the piano was getting ready to get flipped over and out of here. And I wanted to grab her hands and move them, but I also knew that she knew what she knew so well. Just from the little bit I'd been with her, I knew because she was right there. She actually found it, and then she left it again.
Yep.
And I was like, all right, we're just going to end together. We're going to end on G. And she's like, where's G? Where's G? I'm like, you know where G is. 3 keys, 3 black keys, 1 less, F. It's the one right next door. Right? Like giving her that tool, and she landed the plane, and it was painful. And I saw her yesterday, and I said, I want to tell you something. I'm so proud of you. Not for the notes you made that were good, and not even for getting on stage. And that was her first thing. Because I got on stage, I am proud of you for being on stage, but not because of that. Yeah. I'm proud of you because you played the rhythm correctly, even when you were on the wrong notes. I'm proud of you that you were going at a chord, and the chord was just misplaced, but the shape was there. I was proud that your hands were in the right positions. They had the right arc to it. I was proud that you did find it and that you did land the plane. You did so many things right. So little things wrong. They were just wrong for that particular song that you were going for. But everything else was right. It was there. And it was right there.
For anyone listening, keep in mind, she's like, what, 5? 6? 7?
6 going on 7. I think 6 going on 7.
She's super young. She's been playing for less than a year.
No, actually, less than 2.5 months.
Yeah. And these aren't things that we say to our professional players. No. We don't tell our professional players, good for you for playing the right rhythm.
Yeah.
But we have to be able to differentiate our teaching styles from our professional players who are studio musicians and gigging musicians who are extremely proficient, some of them better than we are, but don't know how to move forward. We have to differentiate that teaching style from that to our 7-year-olds who have been playing for 3 months.
And that's really
hard.
It's really hard, and it's also really the problem. And it's also the problem that no music university really takes care of this situation. And that's kind of where we're hoping to fill the void here is there is a manner in which that you approach students, and it's always about them. When you exist to serve others and you get your own agenda out of the way, it's going to be way better. It's going to look different. It's going to feel different. The vibe's going to be different. You're going to show up, and you're not going to know what's going to happen that day because your plan doesn't matter. Theirs does.
And that's the biggest thing I see. You and I have both experienced so many of the other studios in our area. I think that's the biggest problem I see. I think of a couple instructors in particular at some other studios around here that to them, it doesn't matter if it's an 8-year-old or a 28-year-old or a 58-year-old.
It's the same.
They teach the same way, the same songs, the same thing, and we got to stop that. We've got to stop doing that.
Have to.
If Mike would have started, when Mike started teaching me, I was 12 years old. I'm 28 today. I still take lessons from him. If he would have taught me the way he teaches me now, then I would have never stuck with guitar at all. Period.
100%.
Period. Now, Mike's the ultimate nerd. He got so deep in theory with me that when it came to college level theory classes, I thought it was a joke because it was so easy. And I'm thankful for that now. But it was hard for me at first to be like, okay, well, here's how I need to incorporate the modes, and how come none of my peers know what modes are? and now,
why does nobody know what the German augmented fifth is?
Seriously. and now it's a point where it's like, oh, thank God Mike taught me that, and I have internalized that, and I know how to show others that.
Yeah.
And I have guitar players who have been playing for a year or two who know all their modes, but more importantly, they know when to use them, why to use them, where they're or they know it for the sake of knowing every note on the fretboard.
Because if that's all it is, and it's just speed in relationship
Yep.
to chord, fine,
Yep.
it'll work.
And then a combination of knowing that and the cage system, and then all of a sudden it's like, I know every note on the fretboard, period. Every string, every fret.
Yeah, and then you're just moving a shape
And
that
then
you
it-
already know so well.
And then it's like things click and it's easy.
Yeah.
But we can't go to a 7-year-old who's never picked up a guitar before and so, okay, this is Ionian, this is Dorian, this is Phrygian. And like, no, they're gonna be like, I'm done.
However, what you can do with a 7-year-old is go, what do you like? Who do you want to be? What do you want to sound like? Do you
Yeah.
even know? Pick 3 songs, bring them back. Let's listen to them. We listen to them, and they're all in the key of B flat, E flat, and A flat. Go, all right, well, you're an acoustic guitar player. How are we going to do that? Well, I guess let's go with the key of B flat, and let's learn a major scale, and then let's learn the G major scale, and we're going to learn them and tandem together.
Yep.
You know, and we're going to put shapes to it because we can understand that this shape means this, and if I put a capo on it, it means this. Why? Because I understand half steps.
Yep.
Like it just, there's, man, I've got 7-year-olds that can play Nashville numbering system, call it out, and they can do it. Why? Because it's just repetition. Repetition bleeds consistency. Consistency is the mark of a professional. Can we say it again for those in the back? You don't have to dump your whole brain space on a child to get them where you want them to be. They already have an idea about it. How about you ask?
Yep. That's it. That's it. And I think
That sounds a little harsh, man. It is. It's frustrating.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's harsh. We need to get through teachers' brains of like, stop brain dumping on your 8-year-olds and start making it about what they want to do.
Yeah.
You can take what they want to do and put real world information into what they want.
You just have to be willing to work.
Yep. That's a
And-
teacher problem, not a student problem.
100% a teacher problem. Teachers don't want to work.
Yep.
And I know that because I've had teachers that don't want to
I
work.
started teaching guitar lessons because I thought it'd be an
'Cause
easy
I could-
$20 an hour.
I thought I could supplement my gigging income with, hey, prioritize the gig, you lose your kid. That's it.
Yep.
Prioritize the gig, you lose your kid.
Yep.
You lose your student base.
I mean,
that's
I still
a
gig-
whole issue.
I still gig 60, 70 gigs a year. I mean, it's not as much as some of my friends, but it's a heck of a lot more than a lot of my friends.
Yeah.
And I also still teach 40 or 50 students a week.
Yep, and edit podcasts,
And I edit
YouTube videos, and
10
look,
videos
If
a
you're
week.
wondering,
I
if
mean-
you're wondering who's talking to you guys, you know, as far we didn't like really touch base on validity of us as teachers at all in our first like podcast. Like, so this studio has button up to 200 students that we service weekly, and I personally have over 30,000 hours of one-to-one teaching experience. Jacob is climbing the hours as we speak. All of our instructors here average somewhere in around 40 lessons per week on their own schedules. And like even Santiago, he's behind the camera right now. What's up, Santiago? Amazing drum instructor, amazing drummer. He's opened up his schedule as well to kind of take on more. So like this is real world talk. And if
We're not talking about this is what we think should happen.
This is
we're
what-
talking about this is
this
what
is
we
what's
do
happening.
every single day. In fact, in 21 minutes, you're gonna be doing
I'm going to
this.
be doing this right here with an adult because 30% of our client base is adult, who most of which take an hour, some of which are professional. It's just, I cruise forums all the time, and I've actually just started leaving some because it's so toxic. It's just like
100%.
It's just there's so many opinions on how to run a business like this, and the truth is that there are a million ways you can go about teaching, but any number one of those ways that doesn't prioritize who the student is and is becoming as a human is worthless.
100%.
Because they're not
Absolutely.
going to be the musician that we would all want to serve with,
Yep.
that we all want to show up and jam with,
Yep.
that we all want to show up and go, hey, can you step in here? Hey, I've got this gig. My guitar player's down. My bass player's down. My piano player's, my drummer's down. I've got 5 songs. Like, if you can cover these 5 songs for me, that'd be amazing.
Yep.
I would have no problem asking any of my little drummers to come cover us 5 songs.
No.
At all, because they can play with click. Like,
Yep.
if they can play with click, they can gig, man. Like
Yep.
that's just, you know, maybe it's not going to have all this pizzazz that like Santiago might put on it, or you or me, but
Rick
like,
or-
or anybody that we know. But man, it can get it done. And that is what musicianship's about. It's about community.
Yep.
It's about confidence. So anyways, if you like this, type of content, again, this is Zach, this is Jacob here at Fortville Music Garage. Best way to support this channel is through FortvilleMusicGarage.com /shop.
Yep.
Merch in the house, vintage motorcycle tee representing today.
Yep.
All of our merch is made in-house. It is super high quality. You are not going to be disappointed. There is no like Teespring or anything like that going on here.
No, it's all good
this
stuff.
This is it, handmade right here. Well,
Yep.
I mean, handmade. It's very nice quality.
Yeah.
Be on the lookout. Make sure you subscribe. Leave this podcast a review. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment, hit the bell, subscribe, share with your friends. We have courses coming. We have instructor training courses coming. We have guitar, bass, piano, drums, all the things happening. Percussion. Yeah, Santiago's back there. Yeah, we're rocking. We're doing some cool stuff.
Yeah.
And listen, if you got any questions, you know what? Shoot them. If you got comments and you don't like us, cool.
Yep.
Drop them. Sounds great. It's not the worst thing I've ever heard on Instagram.
Nope. Cool. Everybody, thank you for listening to us. Thank you for hearing us out on this. We're touching touchy subjects because we care, and we just can't sit by and let things go down. I mean,
it's just. It seems like every day there's just another problem that happens for local studios around here, and it's frustrating because like they by proxy hurt us for their inability to show up consistently, and it also makes us look good at the same time. But I don't want that. There's room at the table for everybody
should all be winning
to show up and serve a community well. And maybe you're in a community that doesn't have it. That music is severely underserved, especially in a format like this, in a place you can go. Mom and pop places need to take a step back in the forefront, but they can't do it doing the same old crap that's been done. So listen, you're loved, you're valued, you're cared for. That is who you are. And if you question that, reach out. We'll catch you later. Peace.
Later.